Dr. Maya Ellis, a humble black CEO of Ellis Health Systems in the diverse yet tense city of Brookhaven, faces escalating racial prejudice and systemic corruption. When her activist sister Lena goes missing, Maya uncovers disturbing biases within the police force, including betrayal by Officer Daniels, confronted by Tyler Brooks and his entitled group who threaten her community initiatives. Maya navigates unjust treatment and violent intimidation. Her calm professionalism clashes with overt discrimination, intensifying the struggle for justice. As tensions peak, Maya's resilience is tested, highlighting the deep-seated racism and societal challenges she must overcome to protect her sister and community. The morning sun cast a warm, golden hue over the bustling streets of Brookhaven, a city where skyscrapers kissed the clouds and the hum of progress never seemed to cease. Amidst the concrete jungle, nestled in a quiet corner, stood the Cornerstone Cafe, a beloved local spot known for its hearty breakfasts and welcoming atmosphere. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee and sizzling bacon wafted through the air, inviting early risers to start their day. Inside the cafe, the atmosphere was a blend of casual chatter and the clinking of cutlery against plates. The decor was simple yet charming, with wooden tables adorned with small vases of wildflowers and walls lined with local art. It was the kind of place where everyone knew your name, or at least your usual order. At a corner table, Dr. Maya Ellis sat with her morning coffee, a steaming mug of black with just a splash of cream. She wore a crisp white blouse tucked into a pair of well-fitted jeans, her hair neatly braided and pulled back to keep it out of her face. Maya was the CEO of Ellis Health Systems, a leading healthcare conglomerate that had revolutionized patient care and accessibility. Despite her formidable position, Maya maintained a humility that endeared her to employees and peers alike. Maya's phone buzzed with a notification, but she silenced it, choosing instead to savor the quiet moments before the day's demands took hold. Her presence was calm and unassuming, a stark contrast to the high-powered image often associated with corporate leaders. As she gazed out the window, she noticed the subtle changes in the neighborhood. The new storefronts, the increased police presence, and the flyers for community meetings addressing rising tensions in the city. Brookhaven had always been a melting pot of cultures and backgrounds, but in recent months, the undercurrents of unrest had grown stronger. Protests had become more frequent, and whispers of systemic inequality echoed through the streets. Maya, as a prominent black woman in a position of power, was acutely aware of the delicate balance she had to maintain. Her role demanded not only business acumen, but also a keen sense of social responsibility. A waitress approached her table, placing a plate of scrambled eggs and toast before her with a friendly smile. "Here you go, Dr. Ellis. Anything else I can get for you?" "Thank you, Lisa," Maya replied, her voice warm. "I'm all set for now." Lisa nodded and moved on, leaving Maya to her thoughts. She reflected on the recent board meeting, where plans for expanding the company's community outreach programs were discussed. It was essential for Ellis Health Systems to remain connected to the very people they served, especially in times of growing division. Maya believed that true leadership extended beyond corporate success. It was about fostering unity and driving positive change. As Maya sipped her coffee, her eyes caught sight of a familiar face entering the cafe. Marcus Turner, a local community organizer and activist, made his way to the counter, exchanging nods with the staff. His presence always sparked a mix of admiration and concern. In Maya, Marcus was passionate and outspoken, often leading protests and rallies to address the systemic issues plaguing Brookhaven. Their interactions were always polite but measured, each aware of the other's influence and the potential for conflict. Marcus approached the counter, his face set in a determined expression. "Morning, Lisa. The usual?" "Morning, Marcus." "You got it," Lisa replied, her tone light. Maya watched as Marcus settled into a seat near the window, pulling out a worn notebook filled with notes and plans for upcoming events. She couldn't help but wonder how their paths would cross again in the coming weeks, as both their roles inevitably intersected with the city's unfolding narrative. The cafe door swung open, and a group of young men entered, their voices loud and animated. They took a table near the entrance, their demeanor exuding a sense of entitlement that made Maya's instincts tingle. One of them, tall and broad-shouldered, wore designer clothes that contrasted sharply with the cafe's laid-back vibe. His laughter was boisterous, and he carried an air of superiority that Maya found unsettling. As Maya continued her breakfast, her attention was drawn to the interactions between the young men and other patrons. The tallest among them, Tyler Brooks, eyed Maya's table with a smirk. His friends followed suit, casting glances that lingered a moment too long before masking it with forced smiles. Maya felt a familiar unease settle in her stomach. She knew these types all too well, individuals who believed their status exempted them from respect and empathy. Her thoughts were interrupted by Lisa returning to her table. "Here's your eggs and toast, Dr. Ellis. Everything okay?" Maya forced a smile, setting down her fork. "Yes, thanks, Lisa. Just enjoying the morning?" As Lisa walked away, Maya's gaze lingered on Tyler and his group. There was something unsettling about their presence, a tension that hinted at brewing conflict. She decided to remain composed, not wanting to give them the satisfaction of seeing her rattled. After all, Maya was no stranger to navigating uncomfortable situations with grace and strength. Moments later, Tyler approached Maya's table, a mocking grin plastered on his face. Well, if it isn't Dr. Ellis fancy meeting you here." Maya looked up, meeting his gaze steadily. "Good morning, Tyler. Didn't expect to see you here." Tyler chuckled, glancing around the cafe as if seeking validation from his peers. "Just grabbing some food before the big day. Heard you've been making waves in the community. Miss Ellis must be tough being the big boss lady." Maya remained calm, her demeanor unshaken. It has its challenges, like any leadership role, but it's rewarding to make a positive impact. Tyler leaned in slightly, lowering his voice just enough to be heard. "Positive impact, huh? Or is it just all about the money and the perks people are starting to talk, you know?" Maya took a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. "Ellis Health Systems is committed to community well-being, Tyler. If you have concerns, I'm open to discussing them constructively." Tyler's smirk faltered for a split second before he recovered, leaning back in his chair. "Sure thing, Ms. Ellis. Just don't let the suits get too big for their britches, all right?" With a dismissive wave, Tyler returned to his group, his friends chuckling at his attempt to provoke Maya. She watched them for a moment longer, her mind racing. It was clear that their intentions were not benign, and she knew that this was just the beginning of a larger conflict brewing beneath the surface of Brookhaven's facade of harmony. As the morning progressed, Maya continued her routine, meeting with her assistant, reviewing reports, and planning the day's agenda. Yet, the encounter with Tyler lingered in her mind, a nagging reminder of the fragility of progress and the constant vigilance required to maintain it. She was no stranger to opposition. Her ascent to the top had been fraught with its own set of challenges and prejudices. But this felt different, more personal, and she couldn't shake the feeling that the calm exterior of Brookhaven was masking deeper, more dangerous currents. Later that afternoon, Maya found herself in her office, a spacious room with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city skyline. The walls were adorned with awards and accolades, symbols of her hard-earned success. Yet despite the opulence surrounding her, Maya preferred a minimalist approach, valuing functionality over extravagance. Her desk was neatly organized, a testament to her disciplined nature. Her assistant, Jasmine Lee, entered the room, a stack of documents in hand. "Dr. Ellis, the board meeting is about to start. They're eager to hear your thoughts on the new community initiative." Maya nodded, taking the papers from Jasmine and scanning them briefly. "Thank you, Jasmine. Let's make sure we're all set." As Jasmine left, Maya leaned back in her chair, her thoughts drifting back to the cafe encounter. She knew that addressing the underlying issues in Brookhaven required more than just corporate responsibility. It required genuine engagement and understanding. She had always believed that true leadership was about lifting others up, not just achieving personal success. Her phone buzzed again, this time with a message from Detective Marcus Turner. "Meeting at the cafe tomorrow. Need to discuss Lena's case. It's urgent." Maya's heart skipped a beat. Lena, her younger sister, had been missing for 3 days now. As a high-powered CEO, Maya had the resources to assist in the search, but coordinating with the local authorities was essential. She responded quickly, arranging a meeting time and place. The next morning, Maya arrived at the Cornerstone Cafe with a renewed sense of purpose. Max, her sleek black Labrador, greeted her at the entrance with a wagging tail, sensing her anxiety. She exchanged a brief nod with Lisa before taking a seat at her usual table. Detective Turner arrived promptly, his presence commanding yet respectful. He was a tall man with sharp features and a demeanor that conveyed both authority and empathy. As he approached, Maya stood to greet him, her smile genuine despite the gravity of the situation. "Thank you for meeting with me, Detective Turner," Maya began, gesturing to the seat opposite her. "Of course, Dr. Ellis. I'm sorry we haven't been able to provide more information yet," he replied, taking his seat. "We're doing everything we can to find Lena." Maya reached across the table, placing a reassuring hand on his. "I appreciate your efforts. Lena is a capable young woman. She wouldn't just disappear without a reason." Turner nodded, his expression somber. "We're exploring all possibilities, including any threats she might have received recently. Do you know of anyone who might want to harm her?" Maya thought for a moment, recalling Lena's recent involvement in local activism. She's been more involved in community projects lately, particularly with the new outreach programs Ellis Health is supporting. Could someone opposed to those initiatives be behind her disappearance? Detective Turner considered this, tapping his pen against his notebook. "It's a possibility. We've had reports of increased tension in the community, especially surrounding the new developments. I'll add that to our list of suspects." Maya's mind drifted back to her interaction with Tyler at the cafe. Was there a connection? Did his group have something to do with Lena's disappearance? She couldn't be sure, but the thought gnawed at her. "Is there anything else we can do from our end?" Maya asked, her voice steady, despite the worry churning inside her. Turner shook his head. "We're coordinating with local law enforcement and utilizing all available resources. If you think of anything else, please let us know immediately." As the meeting concluded, Maya felt a renewed determination. Lena's disappearance was more than a personal crisis. It was a reflection of the broader societal issues Brookhaven was grappling with. If Lena was indeed targeted because of her activism, it underscored the urgent need for change and the resistance it faced. Leaving the cafe, Maya decided to visit her office, where a meeting with her board members awaited. The day ahead was filled with responsibilities, but her thoughts were consumed by Lena's case and the unsettling encounter with Tyler. She knew that the path to resolving these challenges would require unwavering strength, strategic thinking, and perhaps confronting uncomfortable truths. As she walked through the bustling streets of Brookhaven, Maya couldn't help but notice the subtle signs of division, the hushed conversations, the guarded expressions, and the underlying tension that seemed to permeate the air. It was a stark reminder that despite the city's outward appearance of progress and unity, deeper issues were festering beneath the surface. In her office, surrounded by symbols of her success, Maya felt a renewed sense of purpose. She was not just a CEO, she was a leader with the power to influence and inspire change. Her humility and modesty were not weaknesses, but strengths that allowed her to connect with people on a genuine level. She believed that true power lay in the ability to uplift others, to bridge gaps, and to foster an environment where everyone felt valued and heard. As the board meeting commenced, Maya addressed the group with her characteristic calm and clarity. "Our new community initiative is more than just a project. It's a commitment to the people of Brookhaven. We need to ensure that our efforts are inclusive and that we're addressing the real needs of the community." Her words resonated with the board members, many of whom had come to respect her for her balanced approach to leadership. Maya outlined strategies to increase community engagement, enhance support for local organizations, and ensure that Ellis Health Systems remained a pillar of support in times of crisis. After the meeting, as Maya reviewed the minutes and planned the next steps, her phone buzzed again. It was a call from Lisa, the waitress at the Cornerstone Cafe. "Ms. Ellis, there's been an incident downtown. Someone was spotted near the park where Lena was last seen. The police are investigating." Maya's heart raced as she listened to Lisa's report. Without hesitation, she grabbed her coat and headed out, Max following closely behind. The streets were now quiet, the earlier hustle replaced by a tense stillness that made the air feel thick with anticipation. Arriving at the scene, Maya met with Detective Turner and Officer Ramirez, who were already surveying the area. The park was cordoned off, police tape fluttering in the breeze. A crowd had gathered, murmurs of concern and fear spreading among the onlookers. "Any updates?" Maya asked, her eyes scanning the area. Turner shook his head. "Nothing concrete yet. Just a sighting of a person matching Lena's description, fleeing the park. We're canvassing the area and reviewing CCTV footage." Maya nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. If Lena was involved in any of our community initiatives, we need to look into those connections. Someone who opposes our work might have a motive. As they spoke, a young officer approached, a look of urgency in his eyes. "Detective, we've got something." A security camera across the street captured a figure leaving the park around the time Lena went missing. "It's not clear, but we might have a lead." Maya's pulse quickened. "Let me see it." The footage showed a blurry image of a person moving swiftly through the park, their face obscured by shadows. Maya couldn't make out any distinguishing features, but something about the movement seemed familiar. Turner studied the screen carefully. "It's too unclear to make a positive ID, but we can enhance the footage. It's a start." Maya watched intently, her thoughts torn between hope and fear. Every second felt like an eternity, each moment bringing her closer to either finding her sister or facing the devastating reality that Lena might never return. As the investigation continued, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that the threads of Brookhaven's hidden tensions were tightening around her and her family. The encounter with Tyler at the cafe was no longer a random incident. It was connected to a larger narrative of resistance, prejudice, and the fight for justice. Determined to uncover the truth, Maya vowed to leverage her resources and influence to support the investigation. She was not just a CEO. She was a sister, a community leader, and a beacon of hope in a city teetering on the edge of change. With Max by her side and the support of allies like Detective Turner, Maya was prepared to confront the shadows lurking in the suburbs and bring her sister home. As night fell over Brookhaven, the city lights flickered against the darkening sky, mirroring the flicker of determination in Maya's eyes. The journey ahead was uncertain, fraught with challenges and potential dangers. But Maya's unwavering resolve and silent strength were the pillars upon which she would stand against the storm. The sun had dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the skyline of Brookhaven. Maya Ellis walked briskly through the illuminated streets, her mind racing with thoughts of her missing sister, Lena. The city, once a beacon of diversity and progress, now seemed to pulse with an undercurrent of tension and unease. As the CEO of Ellis Health Systems, Maya was no stranger to high-pressure situations, but this felt different, more personal, and deeply unsettling. Maya's phone buzzed with another notification as she approached her office building, a towering glass structure that mirrored the city's ambition. She glanced at the screen, a message from Detective Turner reminding her of their meeting later that evening. Maya sighed, her resolve hardening. She had to stay focused, for Lena's sake and for the community she served. Inside the sleek lobby, Maya was greeted by the familiar faces of the building's staff. The receptionist, a young woman named Karen, offered a warm smile. "Good evening, Dr. Ellis. The board meeting is about to start on the 20th floor." "Thank you, Karen," Maya replied, her voice steady despite the turmoil brewing inside her. She swiped her access card and ascended to her office, passing through the bustling corridors of executives and employees. The contrast between her modest demeanor and the opulent environment never failed to humble her. As she settled into her spacious office, the panoramic view of Brookhaven's twinkling lights provided a momentary distraction. Maya took a deep breath, her fingers tracing the engraved nameplate on her desk. Maya Ellis, CEO. Despite her success, she remained grounded, often seen driving her modest sedan rather than a luxury vehicle, and choosing simple attire over designer labels. Her humility was a testament to her character, earning her genuine respect from those around her. Her assistant, Jasmine Lee, entered promptly, holding a stack of reports. "Good evening, Maya. Here are the documents you requested for the Community Outreach Initiative. Also, Detective Turner is waiting in the conference room for your meeting." "Thank you, Jasmine. I appreciate it," Maya responded, taking the papers and giving Jasmine a reassuring nod before dismissing her. She reviewed the reports briefly, noting the comprehensive plans for expanding healthcare services to underserved neighborhoods. It was crucial work, especially now with the rising tensions threatening to undo years of progress. As she prepared for the meeting, Maya's thoughts drifted back to her earlier encounter with Tyler and his group at the Cornerstone Cafe. Their overt sense of entitlement and disdain had left an uncomfortable residue in her mind. She couldn't ignore the possibility that their animosity was linked to Lena's disappearance. The more she pondered, the more she realized that the lines between her professional and personal lives were blurring in dangerous ways. The conference room door opened, and Detective Turner stepped in, his expression serious. "Maya, thank you for meeting with me on such short notice." "Of course, Daniel, please, have a seat." Maya gestured to the chair opposite her. She maintained eye contact, her posture confident yet approachable. "What have you found so far?" Daniel took a seat, spreading out a few documents on the table. "We've reviewed the security footage from the park where Lena was last seen. Unfortunately, it's still not clear enough to make a positive identification, but we're working on enhancing the video. We've also interviewed some of Lena's close contacts, but there haven't been any significant leads yet." Maya leaned forward, her hands clasped neatly in front of her. "Has there been any indication of threats or conflicts that Lena might have been involved in recently? You mentioned her increased involvement in community projects." Daniel nodded, pulling out a notepad. "Yes, Lena has been more active lately, especially with the new outreach programs Ellis Health Systems is supporting. We're looking into whether her activism might have made her a target, but it's still early." Maya's jaw tightened slightly. If her activism is the reason, it's even more important that we find her quickly. People like Lena shouldn't have to fear for their safety because they're trying to make a difference. Daniel appreciated her concern, but remained professional. "We agree, we're increasing our efforts and collaborating with your team to ensure that all possible angles are being explored." Maya nodded, though the weight of the situation pressed heavily on her. "Thank you, Daniel. Please keep me updated on any developments. I'm willing to provide any resources or support that might help in locating Lena." As the meeting concluded, Maya felt a surge of determination. She was not only fighting for her sister, but also standing up for the values she had built her career on: equity, justice, and community support. However, she couldn't shake the feeling that powerful forces were conspiring against her and Lena, threatening to undermine everything they had worked for. Later that evening, Maya attended the board meeting, where she presented the latest updates on the community initiative. Her speech was met with applause and nods of approval, but her mind was elsewhere, haunted by the possibility of losing Lena to the same forces threatening Brookhaven's harmony. After the meeting, Maya received a call from Officer Ramirez, one of the local law enforcement officers assisting with the investigation. "Maya, there's been an incident downtown that might be related to Lena's case. Could you come down to the station?" Without hesitation, Maya gathered her things and made her way to the police station, Max by her side, sensing her unease. The station was a modern building, well-maintained yet bustling with activity. Detective Turner met her at the entrance, his expression grave. "What happened?" Maya asked, her voice calm but edged with concern. "We received a report of a disturbance near the Central Park. Several witnesses saw a suspicious individual trying to enter your office building earlier today. Security footage shows someone matching the description of Tyler Brooks leaving the scene in a hurry." Maya's eyes narrowed. "Are you suggesting Tyler is involved in Lena's disappearance?" Daniel sighed, rubbing his temples. "We're not certain yet, but it's a lead we need to follow. Tyler and his group have been vocal about their opposition to your community initiatives. There's enough motive to warrant further investigation." Maya felt a flicker of anger, but maintained her composure. "I see. I'll cooperate fully. Please keep me informed of any new developments." As she left the station, Maya's mind raced with questions. Tyler's group had exhibited overt hostility, but direct involvement in Lena's disappearance was a serious accusation. She had to tread carefully, balancing her role as a CEO with her personal quest to find her sister. The following day, Maya decided to visit one of the new community centers funded by Ellis Health Systems. It was a modest facility in a neighborhood that had recently seen an influx of new residents, many of whom felt marginalized despite the city's diversity. As she walked through the center, she was greeted by smiling faces and the hum of activities designed to uplift and support the community. She met with Aisha Johnson, the center's director, a vibrant woman in her early 30s with a passion for helping others. "Maya, thank you for coming. We've made great progress, but there's still so much to do." Maya nodded, her eyes scanning the room. "It's inspiring to see the impact we're making, but with the recent tensions, I worry about the safety of our staff and the people we're trying to help. Aisha placed a reassuring hand on Maya's shoulder. We're taking every precaution, but having someone with your influence advocating for us makes a difference, thank you. As Maya continued her tour, she noticed a group of teenagers gathered in a corner, their conversations hushed and wary. One of them, Jamal, caught her eye and gave a small nod of acknowledgement. Maya approached him, her demeanor friendly. Hey Jamal, how's everything going here? Jamal hesitated before replying, his voice low. It's been rough, Maya people are getting antsy. Some of Tyler's crew have been hanging around, trying to stir things up. Maya's heart sank. Have they been intimidating anyone? Jamal shrugged, avoiding her gaze. A few times, yeah, just trying to make a point. I guess it's not safe anymore. Maya placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. I understand we're working with the police to ensure everyone's safety. Please let me know if you see anything suspicious or if you need support. As she left the community center, Maya felt the weight of her responsibilities pressing down on her. The systemic challenges and prejudices she faced were not just abstract concepts, but tangible threats impacting her community and her family. She knew that navigating this landscape required resilience and unwavering commitment. That evening, Maya returned to her office, determined to bolster her efforts in finding Lena. She convened a meeting with her top executives and community leaders to discuss new strategies for the outreach programs and ways to enhance security within the city. The room buzzed with ideas and collaborative spirit, but Maya couldn't help but feel a growing sense of frustration. As the meeting adjourned, Jasmine approached her with a concerned expression. Maya, there's someone here to see you. They said it's urgent. Maya frowned, glancing around the bustling office. Who is it? Looks like a neighbor, but I can't be sure, Jasmine replied, her voice tinged with unease. Maya followed Jasmine to her office door, pausing to straighten her blouse and take a deep breath. She opened the door to find Mr. Thompson, an elderly man who lived in the building, standing nervously in the hallway. His eyes darted around before settling on Maya, his hands clasped tightly in front of him. Dr. Ellis, he began, his voice wavering. I don't mean to bother you, but I heard about what happened downtown. I just wanted to make sure you're okay. Maya offered a warm smile, masking the turmoil within. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I'm managing. Is there something specific you needed? He hesitated, then took a step closer. I saw something last night near the park. Right before it got dark, I thought it might be important. Maya's heart skipped a beat. Go on. Mr. Thompson fumbled with his hands, his anxiety palpable. I was taking a walk with my wife when we saw Tyler and two of his friends heading towards the park. They were arguing, loud voices. I couldn't hear everything, but it sounded like they were threatening someone. We didn't want to get involved, so we kept walking. Maya's eyes narrowed. Did you see anyone else, any other details? He shook his head. No, just the three of them. They left in a hurry after the argument. Maya processed the information quickly. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I appreciate you coming forward. As he left, Maya felt a surge of determination. This was the break they needed. She immediately called Detective Turner, relaying the new information. We have a lead. Daniel Tyler was seen arguing with someone near the park the night Lena disappeared. This could be crucial. Daniel responded promptly, his voice filled with urgency. Good work, Maya. We need to follow up on this immediately. I'll assign additional officers to track Tyler and his associates. Maya nodded, though Daniel couldn't see her. Please keep me updated. And Daniel, be careful. If Tyler is involved in Lena's disappearance, he might not hesitate to escalate things further. I understand, Daniel replied. We're on it. The next morning, Maya decided to visit the police station to offer any additional assistance she could. As she walked through the doors, she felt the weight of her position pressing down on her. She was a CEO, a community leader, and a sister. All roles that now seemed to intertwine in her quest to find Lena. Inside, the station was a hub of activity. Officers moved with purpose, phones rang incessantly, and the air was thick with the urgency of unresolved cases. Maya approached the front desk, where Officer Ramirez was stationed. Good morning, Officer Ramirez. I wanted to see Detective Turner about the new lead, Maya said, her voice steady. Officer Ramirez glanced up, a hint of weariness in his eyes. He's tied up with a case at the moment, but I can let him know you're here. Can I take a message? No, I need to speak with him directly, Maya insisted, her determination clear. Ramirez hesitated, glancing around the busy station. He's in the interrogation room with a witness right now. It might be a while. Maya's frustration simmered beneath her calm exterior. Detective Turner, I need to speak with you urgently. It's about Lena. Ramirez shifted uncomfortably. I understand, Dr. Ellis. I'll try to get him to see you as soon as he's done. As Maya waited, her mind raced. The systemic challenges and prejudices that permeated Brookhaven were becoming more evident. She had always believed in the power of collaboration and community, but now she felt the sting of being underestimated and dismissed, both as a black woman in a position of power and as a sister desperately searching for her missing family member. Finally, Detective Turner emerged from the interrogation room, a grim expression on his face. Maya, we have more information. She leaned forward, her eyes sharp. What is it? Daniel pulled out his phone, showing her a grainy image captured from a nearby security camera. The footage was clearer this time, showing Tyler Brooks and two of his friends engaging in a heated argument with another individual near the park, around the time Lena disappeared. Can we enhance this further? Maya asked, her mind piecing together the puzzle. Daniel nodded. We're already working on it. In the meantime, we need to locate Tyler and his associates. Based on their patterns, we have a few leads, but nothing concrete yet. Maya felt a surge of frustration. How many times do I have to push for these updates? It feels like no one is taking this seriously enough. Daniel placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. I assure you, we are doing everything within our power. It's just been a slow process, but with these new leads, things should pick up. Maya took a deep breath, calming herself. I understand, it's just... Lena is my sister. This isn't just another case for me. Daniel nodded sympathetically. I know we're treating it with the utmost priority. And Maya, if there's anything else you think could help, don't hesitate to reach out. As she left the station, Maya felt a mix of emotions: hope from the new lead, frustration from the slow progress, and a growing awareness of the systemic obstacles she faced. The prejudices and biases within the community, and perhaps even within the very institutions meant to protect her, were becoming more pronounced. Determined to not let these challenges deter her, Maya decided to take proactive steps. She organized a community meeting, inviting local leaders, law enforcement, and residents to discuss the rising tensions and how to address them collectively. The meeting was held in a modest community center, a stark contrast to her opulent office, but the setting felt right, grounded and accessible. As she entered the room, Maya was met with a mix of faces, some supportive, others wary. Officer Ramirez stood at the front, alongside Aisha Johnson and other community members. Maya took a seat, scanning the room for familiar faces and potential allies. Aisha stood to address the group. Thank you all for coming. We're here to discuss the recent tensions in Brookhaven and how we can work together to ensure the safety and well-being of our community. Maya raised her hand, and Aisha nodded, inviting her to speak. I'd like to take a moment to address the recent events and our ongoing search for Lena. It's important that we come together to support each other during this difficult time. She paused, gathering her thoughts. Lena's disappearance has shaken us all. It's a stark reminder of the challenges we face, not just as individuals, but as a community. We must address the underlying issues of inequality and ensure that everyone feels safe and valued. As Maya spoke, she noticed subtle shifts in the room. Some attendees listened intently, nodding in agreement, while others seemed skeptical, their eyes darting towards the exits or whispering among themselves. The presence of law enforcement officers provided a semblance of security, but Maya could sense an undercurrent of mistrust. After her speech, a middle-aged man stood up, his expression guarded. Maya, I appreciate your efforts, but how can we trust that things will change? We've seen too many promises made and broken. Maya met his gaze calmly. I understand your frustration. Change doesn't happen overnight, and it requires everyone's commitment. But together, we can create a safer and more inclusive Brookhaven. Your voices matter, and your concerns are valid. The man nodded slowly, his demeanor softening. It's just hard to see progress when the same issues keep resurfacing. What makes you different from the others who've come before? Maya took a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. My role as CEO of Ellis Health Systems gives me a platform and resources to drive meaningful change. But it's not about my position. It's about using that position to amplify your voices and address the systemic problems that affect us all. I'm here to listen, to act, and to support you in any way I can. Aisha stepped forward, her eyes shining with determination. Maya's right. We need leaders who are willing to walk the talk, who are committed to making real, lasting changes. Let's work together to build bridges and dismantle the barriers that divide us. The room filled with a renewed sense of purpose as the meeting progressed, attendees engaging in constructive dialogue and brainstorming solutions. Maya felt a flicker of hope, realizing that despite the challenges, there was a path forward. One paved with collaboration, understanding, and unwavering commitment. As the meeting adjourned, Maya lingered, offering words of encouragement to those who needed it. She felt a deep sense of responsibility, not just as a CEO but as a member of this community. The prejudices and biases that plagued Brookhaven were not insurmountable, but they required persistent effort and collective willpower to overcome. Leaving the community center, Maya's phone buzzed once more. It was a message from Detective Turner. We've located one of Tyler's associates, possible sighting at the docks, moving in now. Maya's heart raced. This was the breakthrough they needed. Without wasting a moment, she called Detective Turner. Daniel, what's the status? We have an associate of Tyler's at the docks. We're proceeding with a search and apprehension. It could lead us closer to finding Lena. Good. Please keep me informed of any developments. And Daniel, stay safe. As she ended the call, Maya felt a surge of determination. The path ahead was fraught with challenges, both personal and systemic, but she was resolute. She had faced obstacles before, and had always emerged stronger. But this was different. This was about her sister, her community, and the very principles she stood for. Returning to her office, Maya was met with the sight of her staff working diligently, unaware of the inner turmoil she was experiencing. She took a moment to appreciate their dedication, knowing that their support was crucial in navigating the tumultuous times ahead. As night enveloped Brookhaven, Maya sat at her desk, reviewing the latest reports and coordinating with her team. Max lay at her feet, his presence a comforting reminder of loyalty and resilience. She knew that the battle for justice and equality was far from over, but with each step forward, she felt a growing sense of hope. The prejudices and biases that sought to undermine her were not just external obstacles, they were deeply ingrained within the very fabric of the society she sought to protect. But Maya was undeterred. Her humility and strength were her weapons, and she was prepared to wield them with unwavering resolve. As she gazed out of her office window at the city lights below, Maya Ellis knew that the fight for her sister's safety and the community's well-being was just beginning. The stakes were high, and the challenges immense, but she was ready to confront them head-on, embodying the silent strength that defined her very essence. The days that followed the community meeting were a whirlwind of activity for Dr. Maya Ellis. Every waking moment was consumed with thoughts of her missing sister, Lena, and the unsettling encounters with Tyler Brooks and his associates. The systemic challenges within Brookhaven were no longer abstract issues. They were personal and immediate threats to her family and the community she cherished. One crisp morning, Maya arrived early at Ellis Health Systems, determined to make progress despite the mounting pressures. Her office, a sanctuary of calm amidst the chaos, was filled with the soft hum of computers and the steady flow of dedicated staff members. She sat down at her desk, Max resting at her feet, and began reviewing the latest reports from Detective Turner. Her phone buzzed with a new notification. A message from Detective Turner. We have a potential lead on Lena. Could you come to the station urgently? Maya's heart pounded in her chest. Without hesitation, she grabbed her coat and prepared to leave, knowing that every second counted. As she walked to her car, she glanced back at the office, feeling a surge of gratitude for her team and the support they provided. Driving to the police station, Maya's mind raced through possible scenarios. Had Lena been taken by Tyler's group? Was there someone more powerful, orchestrating these events? The tension in Brookhaven was palpable, and Maya felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her shoulders. Upon arriving at the station, Maya was greeted by Detective Turner and Officer Ramirez. The usually composed detective looked more exhausted than Maya had ever seen him. His eyes were shadowed with worry, and his posture sagged slightly. "Thank you for coming so quickly, Maya," Turner said, motioning for her to follow him into the interrogation room. The room was stark and sterile, with a single table and 2 chairs. Maya took a seat across from Turner, her expression calm, but her hands trembling slightly. "Have you found anything?" she asked, her voice steady despite the anxiety bubbling inside her. Turner nodded slowly, pulling a folder from his briefcase. "We've identified a possible location where Lena might be held. It's an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town, near the industrial district. Surveillance footage suggests that Tyler and 2 of his associates were seen leaving the area shortly after Lena was reported missing." Maya leaned forward, her eyes narrowing with determination. "What's the status of that lead?" "We're preparing a team to raid the location tonight," Turner replied. "But we need to move quickly. If Lena is there, time is of the essence." Maya's mind raced. A raid was risky, but it was their best chance to find Lena alive. "Is there anything I can do to help? Any resources from Ellis Health Systems that could assist?" Turner shook his head. "This is strictly a law enforcement operation. We have the necessary personnel and equipment, but your presence here underscores the importance of this case and could help ensure that it receives the attention it deserves." Maya nodded, her resolve unshaken. "Understood. Please keep me informed of any updates." As she left the interrogation room, Maya felt a renewed sense of purpose. The raid could be their turning point, the moment that would either bring Lena home or plunge them further into despair. She knew the risks involved, not just physically, but also socially and politically. Tyler's group had already shown their willingness to intimidate and disrupt, and there was a looming fear that deeper, more entrenched corruption might be at play. That evening, as darkness settled over Brookhaven, Maya found herself pacing her office, unable to sit still. Her phone buzzed again with updates from Detective Turner, who assured her that the raid was proceeding as planned. The tension in the room was thick, each passing minute heightening the anticipation of what was to come. Suddenly, her phone rang, the screen flashing, "Officer Daniels!" From the local precinct. Maya answered swiftly, her voice calm, yet edged with concern. "Dr. Ellis, this is Officer Daniels. I need to speak with you immediately." Maya's heart skipped a beat. Officer Daniels was a high-ranking officer, known for his stern demeanor and unwavering adherence to protocol. She had interacted with him only a few times before, always finding him professional, but distant. "What's the matter, Officer Daniels?" There was a brief pause on the other end before he spoke, his voice low and urgent. "There's been a breach during the raid, the team encountered resistance, and we've lost contact with several members. We suspect that Tyler and his group had backup, possibly someone within the department. We need your assistance." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. The idea of systemic corruption was not new to her, but hearing it confirmed was deeply unsettling. "Are you certain about this, Officer Daniels? Do you have evidence?" Daniels sighed, his frustration evident. "We're still investigating, but initial reports point towards inside information. Someone tipped them off, allowing Tyler's group to fortify their position. We need to secure all internal communications and conduct a thorough review of our personnel. Until then, proceed with caution." Maya's mind raced. If there was corruption within the police force, it meant that finding Lena was not just a matter of locating the right people, it was also a battle against entrenched power structures that sought to protect their own interests. "Understood. I'll mobilize our resources and see what support Ellis Health Systems can provide," she replied, her voice steady, despite the gravity of the situation. "Thank you, Dr. Ellis. We appreciate your support," Daniels said, before ending the call. Maya sat down, her thoughts a whirlwind of fear and determination. She couldn't let corruption stand in the way of justice. For Lena, and for the community she had dedicated her life to improving. The stakes were higher than ever, and the path forward was fraught with danger and uncertainty. As midnight approached, Maya decided to take action. She convened a private meeting with her most trusted advisors and allies within Ellis Health Systems. The room was filled with a sense of urgency as they discussed strategies to support the ongoing investigation and counteract any potential corruption. Mitchell Adams, a seasoned community advocate and one of Maya's closest confidants, spoke up. We need to ensure that the police have all the necessary resources without compromising our own integrity. Perhaps we can provide additional surveillance equipment or leverage our connections to bring in external oversight. Maya nodded thoughtfully. That's a good start. We also need to increase our community outreach, reassuring the public that we're committed to transparency and justice. People need to feel empowered and supported during this time. Aisha Johnson, the director of the community center, added, "We should organize more community meetings and information sessions. If Tyler's group is getting their information from within, we need to ensure that our networks are strong and that our community members are informed and vigilant." The team worked tirelessly through the night. Their combined efforts a testament to Maya's leadership and the solidarity of their mission. They coordinated with external organizations, set up secure communication channels, and prepared contingency plans in case the situation escalated further. As dawn broke over Brookhaven, Maya received an urgent call from Detective Turner. "We've located Lena. She's alive, but she's being held at the abandoned warehouse. We're moving in now, but we need immediate backup to ensure the operation goes smoothly." Maya felt a surge of hope and relief. "That's incredible news, Daniel. I'll have our team on standby to assist however needed. Let me know what you require." As she ended the call, Maya couldn't shake the lingering fear that still gnawed at her. The possibility of internal corruption was a dark cloud hanging over their efforts, threatening to undermine everything they had worked for. But Lena's safety was paramount, and Maya was determined to do whatever it took to bring her home. Minutes later, Maya's office phone rang again. She answered quickly, her heart pounding. "Dr. Ellis." "Dr. Ellis, this is Officer Daniels. We've traced the breach to a high-ranking officer within the precinct. It appears that Officer Thompson has been leaking information to Tyler's group. We need your help to expose this corruption and ensure that Lena is safely retrieved," Daniels stated, his voice tense. Maya felt a mix of anger and determination. Officer Thompson was a respected member of the force, known for his dedication and integrity. The revelation of his betrayal was shocking and deeply personal. "Do you have proof of his involvement?" Maya asked, her mind already racing with potential strategies. "Yes, we have several pieces of evidence, including intercepted communications and eyewitness accounts. But we need external verification to ensure the integrity of the investigation. Your support could provide the necessary weight to take this further," Daniels replied. Maya took a deep breath, her resolve solidifying. "I'll mobilize our legal team and arrange a meeting with the district attorney. We need to ensure that Officer Thompson is held accountable and that there are no further leaks." "Thank you, Maya. Your assistance is invaluable," Daniels said before ending the call. As she hung up, Maya felt the enormity of the situation pressing down on her. Exposing corruption within the police force was a delicate and dangerous task, one that required careful planning and unwavering courage. But the alternative was unacceptable: letting injustice prevail and allowing those in power to protect their own at the expense of the community. Maya gathered her team, outlining the steps they needed to take to support the police investigation and secure Lena's rescue. They worked with a sense of urgency, knowing that time was running out and that every decision could have life or death consequences. As night deepened, Maya stood alone in her office, gazing out at the city lights twinkling below. The streets of Brookhaven were quiet now, the earlier tensions giving way to a fragile calm. But beneath the surface, the storm was far from over. Max approached her, his head resting on her lap. Sensing her turmoil, Maya stroked his fur, finding solace in his unwavering loyalty. "We're going to find her, Max," she whispered, her voice steady. "We have to." Just then, her phone buzzed with a new message. "Warehouse secured, moving in now. Be ready for anything." Maya's heart raced as she read the message. The moment of truth was upon them. She knew that the coming hours would determine not only Lena's fate, but also the future of Brookhaven itself. The heightened conflict was reaching its peak, and Maya's internal strength was about to be tested like never before. She took a deep breath, standing tall despite the fear and uncertainty. The path ahead was dangerous, but her resolve was unbreakable. With her team, Detective Turner, and the support of her community, Maya was ready to confront the darkness and fight for justice. As she prepared to leave her office, the phone rang one last time. It was Detective Turner. "Maya, the raid is underway. We're moving in now." Maya nodded, though Turner couldn't see her. "Good luck, Daniel. Please bring Lena home safely." "We will, Maya, I promise," Turner replied, before ending the call. With one final glance at the city skyline, Maya grabbed her coat and headed out, determination fueling her every step. The climax of their battle for justice was imminent, and Maya Ellis was ready to face whatever came next with silent strength and unwavering courage. The sterile scent of antiseptic filled the hospital room as Dr. Maya Ellis slowly regained consciousness. The steady beep of the heart monitor provided a rhythmic backdrop to her disoriented thoughts. Her body ached where the bullet had grazed her shoulder, but her mind remained sharp, focused on one paramount objective: finding her sister, Lena. Beside her bed, Lena stirred, her eyes fluttering open to meet Maya's relief washed over both women as they exchanged a silent embrace, the bond between them stronger than any physical pain. "Thank God you're okay," Lena whispered, her voice hoarse but filled with gratitude. Maya managed a weak smile. "We're both okay. We got out of there." Nurse Thompson, a compassionate woman with gentle eyes, entered the room, adjusting the blankets around Maya. "You're lucky to be alive, Dr. Ellis." "It was a close call." Maya nodded, her mind already racing with the implications of what had just transpired. The raid had been compromised, and systemic corruption within the police force had been exposed, but the immediate threat had been neutralized. Now, the battle was far from over. Detective Turner arrived shortly after, his face etched with concern and determination. He approached Maya's bedside, pulling up a chair. "Maya, I need to talk to you about the next steps." Maya reached for her sister's hand, squeezing it reassuringly. "What do we do now, Daniel?" Turner took a deep breath, his eyes meeting hers with unwavering resolve. "We need to dismantle the corruption within the precinct. Officer Thompson's betrayal is just the tip of the iceberg. We have evidence of a broader network that's been undermining our efforts to maintain peace in Brookhaven." Maya's heart pounded. The revelation of systemic corruption was a heavy burden, but she knew she couldn't back down. Her position as CEO provided her with resources and influence that could be pivotal in this fight. "We need to expose them," Maya stated firmly. "But we have to be strategic. They won't go down without a fight, and they'll try to silence us." Turner nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "Agreed. We'll need to gather concrete evidence and find allies within the community who are willing to stand with us. Your connections through Ellis Health Systems could be invaluable." Maya's thoughts immediately turned to her trusted advisors and allies. She knew that she couldn't face this battle alone. Rallying support from those who believed in justice and equality was essential. Later that day, Maya convened a private meeting with her most trusted team members at Ellis Health Systems. The conference room, typically a place of strategic planning and corporate discussions, now served as the war room for their fight against corruption. Jasmine Lee, her diligent assistant, stood by the window, her expression serious. "We've already increased security measures around the community centers. We can allocate additional resources to support the police investigation." Aisha Johnson, the director of the community center, leaned forward, her eyes blazing with determination. "We need to mobilize the community. People are scared, but fear shouldn't silence them. We can organize town halls, informational sessions, and provide platforms for people to voice their concerns safely." Mitchell Brooks, a hesitant yet sympathetic member of Maya's inner circle, spoke up. "I know some folks in the legal department who might be willing to help. It's risky, but we need every advantage we can get." Maya nodded, her resolve unshaken. "Good. We need to ensure that our efforts are transparent and that we're not seen as just another corporate entity trying to control the narrative. This is about justice, for Lena, for the community, and for everyone who's been marginalized and silenced." As the meeting progressed, strategies were outlined, roles were assigned, and a clear plan began to take shape. Maya felt a surge of hope. Despite the overwhelming odds, she was not alone. With her team by her side and the support of the community, she believed that change was possible. That evening, Maya received a call from Officer Ramirez, one of the more sympathetic officers on Detective Turner's team. "Maya, we've got another lead on Tyler's group. They're planning something big tonight, and we need to intervene before things escalate. Maya's pulse quickened. What's the plan? We believe they're targeting the community center. They want to intimidate the organizers and disrupt the outreach programs. We need to set up surveillance and have a strategy in place to prevent any violence. Maya wasted no time. I'll be there. Make sure the center is secure and that everyone is safe. As she arrived at the community center, the atmosphere was tense, but determined. Volunteers were setting up additional security measures, and Aisha was coordinating with the staff to ensure everyone knew their roles in case of an emergency. Thank you for coming, Maya, Aisha said, her voice filled with appreciation. We're counting on your support. Maya offered a reassuring smile. We're in this together. Let's make sure nothing happens tonight. As the night deepened, the community center buzzed with activity, a stark contrast to the fear and tension that had been building over the past weeks. Maya moved through the rooms, checking in with volunteers, offering words of encouragement, and ensuring that all systems were in place. Suddenly, the tranquil night was shattered by the sound of breaking glass. Maya's heart raced as she realized that Tyler's group had found a way to infiltrate the center. Armed men burst through the windows, their faces twisted with anger and determination. "Stop right there, Maya Ellis," Tyler shouted, his voice echoing through the hall. "We're done with your charity and your influence. It's time you pay for what you did." Maya stood her ground, her mind racing to respond. "This isn't about me, Tyler. It's about justice, for Lena and for the community. You can't keep oppressing us." Tyler sneered, advancing towards her. "You think you can protect everyone? You and your fancy position won't save you." Before the confrontation could escalate further, Detective Turner and his team arrived, weapons drawn and ready to intervene. Officer Daniels, still reeling from his own internal conflict, stood hesitantly at the edge of the room, his allegiance wavering. "Enough, Tyler," Turner commanded, his voice firm. "Put down your weapons and stand down." But Tyler was relentless, his frustration boiling over. "We won't let you and your corrupt police protect her. We're taking back control." In the midst of the chaos, Maya felt a surge of determination. She knew that this was the moment to make a stand, not just for Lena, but for the integrity of the community she had dedicated her life to improving. "Enough!" Maya's voice rang out, clear and unwavering. "This ends now. You're not going to terrorize this community any longer." Tyler laughed bitterly. "And what are you going to do? Ellis, use your influence. It's all a facade. You're just like the rest." Maya took a deep breath, her internal strength surfacing. "No, Tyler. I'm here to support the community, to fight for justice and equality. Unlike you, I believe in lifting each other up, not tearing each other down." As she spoke, she noticed Officer Daniels faltering, his resolve wavering under the weight of Maya's words. Maya seized the moment, stepping closer to Tyler. "You've lost sight of what truly matters. It's not about power or control. It's about the people who depend on us. It's time to end this cycle of hate and violence." The tension in the room reached a boiling point as both sides stood poised for confrontation. The air was thick with anticipation, every eye fixed on Maya and Tyler, waiting to see who would make the next move. Suddenly, the sound of sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder by the second Maya knew that backup was on the way, but the immediate threat was still present. She had to act quickly to de-escalate the situation. "Turner, get them to back off," Maya urged, her voice calm but commanding. "We can resolve this without more bloodshed." Detective Turner nodded, his team moving to surround Tyler's group, their presence a force to be reckoned with. But Tyler's desperation was palpable, his eyes wild with a mix of anger and fear. "I'm not backing down," Tyler spat, his grip tightening on his weapon. "This community needs to remember who's in charge." Maya took another step forward, her gaze unwavering. "The real power lies with the people who want peace and unity, not those who seek to divide and destroy. It's over. Tyler, walk away before it's too late." In that moment, Officer Daniels made his decision. He stepped forward, lowering his weapon and joining Maya's side. "Tyler, this isn't the way we can end this peacefully." Tyler looked between Maya and Daniels, his resolve faltering. The weight of his actions and the betrayal within his ranks had finally caught up with him. For a moment, the room held its breath, the future hanging in the balance. Before Tyler could respond, the sound of approaching police cars filled the air, and additional officers poured into the community center, their presence overwhelming Tyler's group. Faced with the combined force of law enforcement and Maya's unwavering stance, Tyler knew that his path was leading to ruin. "Please, Tyler," Maya pleaded, her voice filled with genuine concern. "Let's end this now, for Lena, for Brookhaven, for yourself." Tyler hesitated, the conflict within him evident. Finally, he dropped his weapon, the act symbolic of his surrender to reason and mercy. "Fine. I'm done. Just stop." As Tyler's group was apprehended and the immediate threat dissipated, Maya felt a profound sense of relief wash over her. But the ordeal had taken its toll, both physically and emotionally. She knew that this was just one battle in a much larger war against systemic injustice and corruption. As the dust settled and the community center returned to its peaceful state, Maya gathered with her allies, her resolve stronger than ever. "This is only the beginning," she declared, her voice steady and full of determination. "We've taken a significant step, but there's still much work to be done. We need to continue fighting against the corruption that threatens our community and ensure that justice prevails for everyone." Detective Turner nodded, his respect for Maya evident. "You've shown incredible strength and leadership, Maya. We couldn't have done this without you." Maya glanced at Officer Daniels, who had been reprimanded for his actions, but remained a symbol of the internal battles they faced. "Thank you, Daniel. Your willingness to stand against the corruption is commendable. We need more like you." As she addressed the group, Maya felt a surge of hope. The community had come together in a moment of crisis, and the bonds forged in the heat of conflict were unbreakable. But she knew that the fight was far from over. Systemic change required relentless effort, unwavering courage, and the support of every individual committed to justice. Just as Maya began to feel a sense of accomplishment, her phone buzzed with an urgent message. "Warehouse secured, moving in now. Be ready for anything." Her heart raced as she realized that another operation was underway, possibly linked to deeper layers of corruption they had yet to uncover. The night was far from over, and the true extent of the challenges ahead loomed large on the horizon. As Maya stared out the window, the city lights reflecting her determination, she knew that the climax of their battle was imminent. The stakes had never been higher, and the path forward was fraught with danger and uncertainty. But Maya Ellis was ready to take decisive action, armed with silent strength and an unyielding commitment to justice.